When anxiety shows up that way, and the reason it starts to close in so intensely is because it's trying to let you know you are believing the lie of the ego. Because anxiety is not your enemy. Anxiety is actually protecting you.
The reason our body is feeling so anxious is it's like our body is screaming. Our body's physically screaming at us, making us feel all this stuff that's not our natural, just as we're going through our day.
I want to get away from me because the me that is anxious is suffocating me. I cannot breathe and I need help, and no one can help me because they're a blur.
It goes in this like vicious circle. So I love that you have like actual tools, tangible tools and things to practice to like get out of that space.
You are believing a lie and you're living this lie as if it's a truth.
Have you ever had anxiety hit you out of nowhere, like a wave you didn't see coming? Your heart races, your chest tightens, things go blurry, and you just feel like the world is closing in around you. Even when you're surrounded by the people and places that should make you feel safe, it's overwhelming, isn't it? In those moments when anxiety takes over, how do you find a sense of safety and calm within yourself? I know this is something that I've experienced a lot in my life. I haven't been one that has got sucked into like depression or the past, but I have definitely found myself getting sucked into anxiety and stress and overwhelm and worried about the future and spending time trying to prepare for the future. And I haven't been living in the present and feeling safe where I am right here, right now. It like feels safer to escape and go somewhere else. So how do you feel safe while experiencing anxiety, Rain?
Well, anxiety is a state of, there's a blessing in anxiety. Okay. And the blessing of anxiety is basically trying to tell you that whatever anxiety is telling you is the illusion of a false truth. False truth meaning, I believe it's true, but it is actually in reality, in the real realm, it is a false truth. So anxiety basically expresses false truths. So it feels like a truth, but it is a lie. So when I am experiencing anxiety or anybody is experiencing anxiety, just remember that what I'm being told about my future fears and the fact that I can't even talk to anyone in my presence. I'm consumed with these thoughts that are terrifying me of my future. And of course, bringing in past examples of how justified my fear of the future is. So I'm using the past of my experiences to justify a pretend future. And that's anxiety. What happens is you get locked in. But anxiety, when anxiety shows up, it's because these thoughts you've been thinking already. Okay. And now you're starting to believe them. So, like what I said, you're believing the false truth. Now it's become your truth, your illusion truth. And now you're experiencing a future that is not going to happen, that is not true, and you're finding solutions for it. So I've taken the worst case scenario and I'm finding the solution to the worst case scenario that is not going to happen. It's not even going to happen because it's a false truth. And I believe it's real. So it feels like I'm in the state of a bubble. I can't penetrate this bubble. I can't breathe. I can't even interact with people. It feels like people aren't defined. My reality isn't clear. It's like having, like on the Zoom call before putting the HD on, everything's blurry and distant, and I can't really have a hold on my outside world. But when anxiety shows up that way, and the reason it starts to close in so intensely is because it's trying to let you know you are believing the lie of the ego, right? And we get so exhausted that you can't even breathe after. You're in a state of, I remember so clearly, I wouldn't be able to breathe. I wanted to get out of my skin, and I don't know how to get out of my skin. I want to get away from me because the me that is anxious is suffocating me. I cannot breathe and I need help, and no one can help me because they're a blur, right? So the more intense anxiety gets, the more it is a language or a way in which the body is trying to let you know you are believing a lie. and you're living this lie as if it's a truth, and you've already transported to another reality, and the reality you've transported in is not part of any of your reality truths. It's not part of any parallel reality or multiple realities that you have written for your life experience. So it's not part of any reality. So you're squeezing a new reality in and reliving it that doesn't exist for you. So as anxiety starts to press in, okay, you're not feeling safe. Of course not, because anxiety is, I am far from safe. I am doomed, right? And whatever future you're in is a scary ass future. Of course, I'm not safe. Now, how do you feel safe with anxiety? And that's the magic pill. And this is what I used and worked with for years because I was born as an anxious child. I lived an anxiety life. Anxiety was part of my life. I thought it was normal to be this kind of human being until I discovered it doesn't have to look that way, until anxiety became so suffocating that I realized there's something really off here. So sometimes you'll have anxiety, but you'll think that it's normal. You'll think it's your normal state of being, which it isn't. And then when anxiety gets so overwhelming, that's when you seek help and try to look for outside sources. You don't need to reach that point. And if you reach that point, it's just your inner self telling you, please stop believing the lies. Please stop believing the lies. Your system cannot handle the lies. It's not in any of the trajectory of your futures. You're forging a future that doesn't exist and will never exist on your timeline. And you're forging it. So it feels like anxiety. That's why it feels like the world is collapsing on you, because you're trying to collapse the reality, which is truth. You're trying to collapse it to invent a new reality that is not true and doesn't exist in any realm of reality. So it's as if you're fighting against this reality. That's why it seems hazy and daisy and you can't breathe and you're suffocated, because you're trying to spit yourself out of the real moment that you're having now. You're out of the true reality that you're in. Now, how do I feel safe in that experience? What I need to first and foremost do is remember that this anxiety is teaching me not to believe the lie. It's trying to put the brakes on. It's trying to, because you shut down. With anxiety, we freeze. Anxiety doesn't allow us to fight or flight. Those are not the two systems we work with when anxiety shows up. Anxiety is a fear, is a freeze state of being when anxiety shows up. So we end up freezing. Why does anxiety freeze us? Not to take any actions, because anxiety forbids us to take any executive actions towards a future. Like if I make that phone call, I'm going to make it according to a future that doesn't exist in any of my realities, right? So now I'm frozen. I can't pick up the phone. I can't make a logical decision. I can't decide whether to take this job or not. I can't decide to leave the partner or not. I can't take any decision. I am frozen in time. And we're frozen in time simply because that timeline doesn't exist. I can't move forward. So it's stopping me. It's freezing me, saying, you can't take any action. There's nothing written about it. This is not one of any of the million other possibilities. It's nothing written. So I can't take an action. This is when you start to realize, oh, so this is a false reality? Am I safe in just believing that it's going to be okay? Can it be that this reality really doesn't exist and I'm being forced right now to plug back into this reality and not plug into a reality that doesn't have any base or any timeline to walk in because I can't take an action? So this is what anxiety is telling you. I have never heard this in the 18 years I've been talking about anxiety and helping clients. This is the first time I ever hear this come through, and it's helping me so much. So in general, okay, look at it as a way where divinity and source is stopping you, okay, is saying, don't even go there, okay, because all of it is false. And we don't want you to go there because it's not a thing. Now, what do you do when you're stuck in this situation? Now, okay, logically, you've been hijacked. That's it. You've been hijacked with your egoic mind and your future fear, because anxiety is all a future fear. And as I said before, a fear of a future that doesn't actually exist, right? What you're going to do is, because you want to bring yourself back in here, you want to plug in, okay? You want to disconnect from that timeline that doesn't exist because nothing's happening. So you're going to have to tap your feet really hard on the floor, okay? Because you want your feet to connect. We've got all these meridian points there, okay? And these meridian points need to vibrate up to all the meridian points throughout your body, okay? So you're going to tap and bang. If you're sitting on the floor and you can't see and you're in the haze, you're with friends, I don't care where you're at, you are just going to tap your feet on the floor. You're going to bang it until you start to feel your feet. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to feel the sensation. Feet are very, very important. They have every point possible. So you're going to bang these feet on the floor until you can connect to your feet, because it's very hard to connect from your crown chakra when you're having anxiety. You need to connect from the earth back, because you've left the world. So you're out of your crown, you're out of your body. You're not even here. So you need to come back to this reality. And the reality you're in right now, as you're having your anxiety, it always happens to be that you're having an anxiety when you're in an extremely safe environment. Okay? You're in a coffee shop, you're in a home, you're not in a war zone, you're not in the middle of a jungle. Okay? Because in reality, when you're in a space of like the jungle or somewhere something is happening, you're not in a free state. You are actually in a fight or flight. Or if you are in a free state, it's actually a freeze where you're playing dead so the perpetrator can go away, right? But you're in actual danger. So anxiety is you're not in actual any danger. But you need to remind yourself to come here. How you plug in? You bang your feet against the floor. You bang your feet until your feet start to hurt. When your feet start to hurt, what happens is now you're going to pay attention to the pain that is currently happening. Okay, so this is when pain becomes a gift, right? Some people start to pinch themselves. If you can't bang your feet for any reason, your feet hurt, you whatever, start to slap your hands together. You want to bring yourself back. You want to gain pain here, because pain will bring you back. That's the beauty of pain. So first thing to do is bang your feet, slap your hand, pinch your hands, pinch your fingers. Tips of your fingers are also very important, very important meridian points here. Pinch your fingers. So you're bringing yourself back. You're just bringing yourself back. And as you're dealing with your pain, you want to focus back in. Oh, I'm here and none of that is true. Okay? And you're going to say to yourself, I am safe now. I am safe now. It's okay. Thank you, anxiety. Thank you, anxiety. Now it's going to sound upside down, but you're going to really thank anxiety because it stopped you in every possible way from making that phone call, planning a future according to that doomed future. It stopped you. It froze you. So you're just going to say, thank you. Thank you, anxiety. Thank you, anxiety. Thank you, anxiety. And inside of you, you're like, I hate anxiety. But you're going to just say, thank you, anxiety. Thank you, anxiety. In time, trust me, you're going to love anxiety because I love my anxiety when it shows up. Okay? And then you're going to surrender it and give it up. You're going to say, I give up. And not only I surrender to the universe, screw all that. You're not in a state that can go there anyway. You're anxious. You're stamping your feet. You're pressing your fingers. You're doing all this to come here. You're going to say, I am safe right now. I am safe right now. I am safe right now. You're going to say, thank you, anxiety. Thank you, anxiety. Thank you, anxiety. And then you're just going to say, I give up. And when you say, I give up, do this. I give up and move your hands up, because what you want to do is you want to get out of the freeze state, because when you're out of the freeze state, you're coming back to normal. I give up. I give up. And you're pushing it away. Yeah. You're like, I give up. I give up. And this way, you're telling your body, I am safe and I'm free. Because if you're not safe, you would never be able to do this. When we're not safe, we're like this, right? So I give up. So this is the way to kind of become safe while you're having your anxiety. Because anxiety is not your enemy. Anxiety is actually protecting you from doing things that are not for your well-being and that actually don't exist in your future. Oh, yeah, Mel.
That was beautiful. Oh my gosh, thank you for all of that. I hadn't heard it like that before either, too. And it just makes me realize like all of that just felt like so much truth of it's a lie. The reason our body is feeling so anxious is it's like our body is screaming. Our body's physically screaming at us, making us feel all this stuff that's not our natural, just as we're going through our day. It's like, we just check out of being like present with just functioning and we're like not even functioning anymore. And it's because it's a lie. And this is our body's way of trying to talk to us and let us know these are lies. Don't believe the lies, but yet we believe them, and then we feel more pain, and then we're like somehow, I don't know, it goes in this like vicious circle. So I love that you have like actual tools, tangible tools and things to practice to like get out of that space, especially if we're so used to it. The program has been doing it for so long. Like you said, since you were a little girl, since I was a little girl, it's something that still comes up for me. And these are great tools that I can use to just practice to get out of that space.
And sometimes what I found that's really interesting, Mel, is when I'm able to calm down, that iota calm down, there's still anxiety, but it's not, it's less of to be like, okay, what was anxiety telling me? What was the anxiety? And I write it down. I'm going to be poor. I'm going to be homeless. My kids are going to die, and I'm going to be alone, and whatever, whatever the fear is. And then right next to it, write down the opposite of that. Okay. Because what anxiety is trying to tell you is, wait, but the opposite is true. The opposite is true. The opposite is true. But you can't think of the opposite right now because you're consumed. But you can write it down. You have that power where you can write down my anxiety. That's so easy. You're just going to write it down. It's going to sound like nonsense to you when you're awake, not anxious. But right next to it, right, okay, what is divinity telling me the truth is? Because it must be the opposite of this, because that's anxiety. So just write that down right next to it. You may not believe it when you're reading it, but you're going to have to just reread it over and over again, maybe out loud to yourself, right? Oh, I'm going to be safe and I'm going to be fine and it's all well. Actually, I'm being told that I'm going to be really rich and I'm going to have an amazing house and my kids are going to live forever and I'm going to die before them. There's not going to be a problem. You're like, oh, so I'm getting intuitive downloads, which is the opposite. I'm being, oh, okay. So what I'm hearing is you're getting a psychic hit, but the 3D is transforming the psychic hit to a negative. But your psychic hit is the opposite of that, because sometimes that's how our bodies are translating it due to the trauma in the body. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this was beautiful and amazing. Thank you for all those shares and for those tools. So let's just go through this quickly to seal it in, you guys. So practice this. So she said, tap on the floor. So practice, tap on the floor, feel that connection. Say, I am safe now. I am safe now. And then thank you, anxiety. Thank you, anxiety. Thank you, anxiety, because it's showing you, teaching you something so you don't get lost and go off on a big old creating a world that's never going to exist, that's just going to cause pain anyways, that's not reality, isn't going to happen. Let's stay out of that. So thank you, anxiety. And then surrender and give it up and say, I give it up now, right? I give it up and move the hands. I give it up. And then move your hands up in the air. And just feel, and it feels good to move that and throw it up in the air. And like you said, that feels freeing too, to like really move your body, to like move this energy out of your body. And then you can go sit with yourself if you'd like and write it down. What was anxiety telling me? What was it telling me? What was coming up? And then write down on the other side what the opposite of that. What is the actual truth? I'm okay. So this is beautiful. Okay, thank you guys for listening to this episode. Feel free to, we would love for you to like and give us a thumbs up on this and subscribe so you can listen to all of our latest episodes that we have. And we do want to hear from you. So please comment below, comment with just your biggest takeaway with this. We'd love to hear your takeaway. And then also, if you want to share some other tips that you use to help you with your anxiety, we would love to hear it. So share those with us as well. And make sure to check out the next episode. That's just going to be a building block on top of this one. And we'll have that linked right there. So check that one out and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.